I just want you guys to know that I filmed this entire video right after filming part 1. I filmed this one. And today, I went to put it on my computer so that I could edit and upload it. And it was gone. So, here I am remaking this video. Welcome back to AliTube. If you are new, hello, welcome. Thank you for checking my video out. And if you're not, welcome back. This is part 2 to my college experience at New York Film Academy, NYFA. I got my shirt back on. It's really ironic that I have this shirt back on, if I'm gonna be quite honest. Because like, it's been a long time since I filmed part 1. And yeah, I just happened to put this shirt on. But if you have not seen part 1, I need you to pause this video right now. Click the link in the description and watch part 1. And then come back and watch part 2, obviously. Okay, so without further ado, here is part 2 of my NYFA college experience, New York Film Academy college experience. Yeah, part 2. Okay, so this year started as me finally fulfilling my dream, well at least one of them, fulfilling one of my dreams of moving to LA. Yes, that is exactly how the second year starts. So I moved here to Los Angeles last January 28th to be exact, I remember. Which was I want to say that was a Sunday, and so like that week was like kind of like welcome week. Like class didn't start for another week, but like it was like orientation and like just like a whole like welcome to the school type of thing. Like yeah, we did like tours and all of that. I met my roommate and I moved in. And yeah, like we went to, I remember the school took us on a tour of LA. They took us on like a studio tour where they showed us other studios that are here. The school is right next to Warner Brothers, so they didn't like take us on that tour. That would have been really dope. Also, I've taken that tour, and if you come out to LA, that is a must do to do the Warner Brothers tour. It's a little pricey, but worth it. But yeah, so they took us on a tour. I remember seeing Paramount and like the Muppets Studios or something like that. Like yeah, they showed us like a few different, and then like some historic sites and all that of film studios, which was really cool. Yeah, it was kind of like a get to know like your city type of thing. Just so you guys know, LA super confusing. I still like get so lost. I've been here for a year and a half, and if I don't have a GPS to get me to where I'm going, like I'm not going because I don't know where I'm going. But yeah, so it was they were trying to like get us to know the city, and I was trying to like get to know the new city. And then classes start, and actually my first day of class I had psychology of performance. I'll never forget. And I was so nervous because I was meeting my new class, and you know, I was new. I didn't know anybody. Everybody that was already there, you know, kind of already knew each other. So I was really nervous. I remember that Monday we didn't have class, but this was on Tuesday. I was really sad that I didn't have class Monday, but this was on Tuesday. And so yeah, so I went, and I remember being so nervous to talk, and I had to, you know, say my name and where I'm from and all of that, as you usually do. And everybody was really nice to me. I mean, you know, nobody really talked to me much, but everybody was nice. I remember we did this exercise. Oh, I didn't ask her if I could use her name in this video. We'll give her a different name. So I remember doing this exercise where we had to like stare into each other's eyes, and I don't know why, but I specifically remember staring into my friend, we'll call her Alicia. I remember like staring directly into Alicia's eyes. I don't remember why. I remember her so specifically, but I remember thinking to myself, man, she seems really nice. Like, we should be friends. And then eventually, like, we did become friends, which was really cool. So thanks, Alicia, even though that's not your real name. Sorry, I didn't ask if I could use your name. You'll know who you are when I put this up. Yeah, so I remember that being the first day of class. Unfortunately though, that was not my section that I met. That was like people from different sections that were in this class. And then, so then the next day, I remember going to, I want to say my whole schedule was all kind of jacked up this first semester. So I want to say the next day I had Technique and Scene Study, and I was supposed to be in Technique and Scene Study 4, but they put me in Technique and Scene Study 3. And I remember going to the class and being like, I already took this class and I have this class again. Like, who do I talk to about getting out of this and like going to the proper class? And so I like had to run around to everyone and like try to explain to them like, hey, I already took this class. And it took like the entire week for them to figure out that my transcript, instead of, okay, so what is the Roman numeral for 4? Is it IV or VI? Whichever. So instead of writing that on my transcript, what the other school did in South Beach was they wrote 4 I's. And so they were like, oh, she already took Technique and Scene Study 4, so they put me in 3. And we had to like go and I literally had to go through hoops to get that class changed and go into the right class. So I was in the wrong class for like 2 days with that class, and then I was in another class. It was my scripted TV class, and I was in this class and I was with my group, my actual like section. I was with them. And then like the following day I got taken out of that class and I was like, what is going on? And I was put in this other class. Yeah, it was really annoying and really stressful that first like week to 2 weeks. It was a lot of trying to figure out like, what class am I supposed to be in? What have I already taken? And what, you know, where do I need to be? But finally, after like a week and a half, I was finally in all the right classes, and I don't know, it was just really good. It was very a little intimidating at first because like I said, I didn't know anybody and everybody knew each other. So I just kind of sat quietly to myself. I mean, like if people talked to me, I would talk to them, but like, yeah, I just kind of sat quietly by myself. One of my instructors, I'll never forget, he would comment on how like seeing me then, how I was so quiet, and like now how I'm like, yeah, full of life. He's like, that transition is great. Yeah. Oh, that was fun. I liked that class. That was my Technique and Scene Study teacher. But yeah, it was hectic that first like couple of weeks. I remember we had like this club day thing, and in South Beach they did not have clubs, but here they did, so I was really excited. I was like, yes, I want to join a club. And so I saw that there was a dance club called Dance Troupe, and so to get into Dance Troupe you had to audition, and then that's how you got in. And I remember auditioning and I was stupid nervous because I had not danced in so long. I danced at my aunt's talent studio for a little bit, but even then it was like very wishy-washy. It wasn't like consistent like it had used to be. So I was really nervous because I had been rusty. But I went to the audition and I did terrible. The camera stays dying on me. But yeah, so I did the audition. And then I want to say like not even a week. The audition was like Friday, and maybe like Wednesday. My roommate comes in the room and she's like, did you get in Dance Troupe? And I was like, I don't think so. I haven't gotten any, you know, emails or notifications about it. And she was like, well, I got in, but I didn't audition. And I was like, that's weird. And so she had like this acceptance that she got into Dance Troupe even though she wasn't even at the audition. And then like a little bit later, I looked and I got accepted into Dance Troupe as well, even though I thought that I did horrible at my audition. And I remember thinking, no, this is a mistake, because they accidentally sent one to my roommate, so they probably accidentally, this is probably an accident too. Like, I didn't actually get in. And I remember like thinking to myself, well, I'm not gonna go, or should I just go and like see what they say? Like, I just went back and forth with that, and then I finally decided, okay, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna see what this is and if they made a mistake, because I'm pretty sure they did. And I went, and they were like, no, like, your audition was really good, like, you were a strong hip-hop dancer. And it made me feel so good. So I got into dance troupe, which was amazing. It was so much fun. And then we had like this huge performance at the end of the semester. Yeah, that was great. That was really fun. My first semester here was really fun, even though I didn't really know anybody. But like, getting to know people was great, and like dance trip was great. I will say too, like, this semester, like, we had good classes too. Like, scripted TV was probably my favorite class. We filmed Friends. We filmed an episode of Friends. It was the one with sharks. You might know that. And we also filmed Scandal, this episode of Scandal, which was really good. It was about like the madam. I think it's the second episode of that series, the very second episode. A lot of fun. I loved that class. I love that class. I love Technique and Scene Study was another great class that semester. What else did I have? Biology of Performance, like I said, and Dramatic Literature. I didn't like that class. It was boring. You got to see a play though. It was boring. But yeah, it was everything was just going well. For, we'll say like 2 months. And then I got some bad news that so I'm getting on like a lump sum, I guess you can say, and it ended up being cut. So I didn't get it at all. And then I only got a little bit from the school, and what I got from the school was like barely enough to cover my bills. So things immediately got stressful. I was looking for a job, and I was literally applying everywhere, and no one called me. I think I even mentioned this in my what it's really like living in LA video. Yeah, nobody called me back for my jobs that I kept applying to, and it was so stressful because bills were piling up and like they were due. It was bad. It was really bad. And then, so there was a grocery store at my old apartment. There was like a park, and then if you walked further down, there was like a grocery store. And so I used to just walk over to the grocery store. And this one time I was walking and I saw my job's office, and if you guys watch my videos, you know that I've always done like daycare. Like, I've always been a preschool teacher. And so when I was walking past this office, I kept seeing like toys and whatnot out, and like it looked like a kind of like a daycare type setting. So I was like, well, maybe I'll go and I'll apply over there. And so I did. And I remember talking to one of the lovely assistants in the office, and she was like, oh my god, yeah, like, you're exactly like the type of person that we're looking to hire. Like, you're the type of person that we want, that we look for when we're, you know, hiring people. And so she ran me through like the whole like application process and everything. And so I applied, and then they called, and we did like, they said it wasn't a phone interview, but I treated it like a phone interview. And then like we went through like this whole like interview process. It was like a really long thing, but it was worth it. And I got my job. And I was really, really excited. And so the way that my job works is, okay, so my job is all on an app. Besides like it having like an actual office. Like, I do work for people. Like, there is an actual office with people in it, but everything I do is based on an app. And so what you do is you go on the app and you put in your time, your availability time. Yeah, there we go. And people will, you know, hire you based on your availability, which is great. But if people don't know who you are, it's kind of slow at first until you build a reputation. And so I was getting maybe 1 job a week, 1 to 2 jobs a week, and in the beginning, and it just wasn't enough to cover bills. And I was still getting very nervous. I was like starting to get depressed and anxious because I was like, I don't know, you know, if people aren't like hiring me, I don't know how I'm gonna be able to afford anything. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna be able to work. And that went for a decent amount of time, like a few months. It was like very slow, where I was getting like a job a week, 2 jobs a week. Like sometimes it would be like 3 days, and I'd be so excited because I was like, okay, good. But it was very slow. And so because it was slow, I ended up looking for another job. And I was, you know, doing the same thing again, applying everywhere. And I finally got hired after calling over and over at Buffalo Wild Wings. And so I was working B-dubs, going to school, and still doing my babysitting jobs on the side. It was so much. Where I think we're in like the 2nd semester now. So what classes did I have? Voiceover and improv, which were hands down my like #1 favorite classes that semester. I love voiceover work. That's what I want to get into. It's amazing. Improv is always fun. Those were like, yes, they were great. Another great semester of school. But I had those. I had environmental biology, which was another great class. I'm actually pescatarian now because of that class. I had writing for actors, which was an okay class, and I had technique and scene study again. I think we have that every semester, right? I don't know. But yeah, so I had those classes. Writing for actors we're writing. Technique and scene study, you know, I had to still memorize lines. I had to memorize and remember things for environmental biology. Voiceover, thank God, we're just reading, and improv is improv. But, you know, still trying to focus on writing, learning lines, and you know, remembering my environmental biology work, you know, trying to do all of that. Plus, and I told Buffalo Wild Wings, I said I'm a full-time student when they hired me, and so I can only work part-time, and they still scheduled me full-time. So now I was going to school full-time, working B-dubs full-time, still doing my babysitting on the side when I could, on like the weekends, if I had time. It was a lot, and boy, did my mental health take a toll on me. And then what's crazy was that, like, I found working at Buffalo Wild Wings, I was making more working my nanny job and like babysitting than I was at B-dubs. I ended up, well, management sucked, and yeah, I ended up just never showing back up because management was awful. I kept telling them I can't work full-time, I can only work part-time, and they kept scheduling me full-time. I just wasn't happy there, so I ended up quitting. And at the same time, I also ended up moving, which is a whole nother story in itself. That was an interesting semester. It was my summer semester last year. Wow, yeah. It's very interesting. Be on the lookout for that story. It probably won't come for a while, but it's an interesting story as to why I moved. But so I moved to my current apartment, and I quit B-dubs, and I just started doing my nanny job full-time while still trying to like maintain school. And it actually ended up working out because I was placed with the greatest family ever. Oh my goodness. I was placed with my twins, and I ended up becoming their nanny for up until the whole shutdown happened. I was their nanny. And they were the sweetest little babies. I was with them every morning, and then I would go to school after, and I loved it so much, and I loved them so much, and I missed them. It was just so great. It was so great. And I was finally like on track with like paying all my bills. Like I finally was like getting on my feet, and yeah, it It was great. I missed them. But yeah, and then so now at this time, you know, my friendships with my classmates are getting stronger, and like we're starting to kind of hang out more and whatnot. I actually did have a hangout night. You know what? I'm gonna tell you that in the other video that I talked about me moving. I'll talk about that in that video. But anyways, so yeah, so my friendships started to grow. I started hanging out with my class more, which is great. My friend Alicia from before, she and I went to Halloween Horror Nights, and that was so much fun. We actually got like a pass to go twice. Yeah, that was amazing. Horror Nights here, I will say, I do like the scare zones in Universal Florida better than here, but there was this one scare zone here that I didn't know was a scare zone, and I ran the entire way through because I had no idea it was a scare zone. It was crazy. Oh yeah, that was fun. Also around that time, speaking of like Halloween and all of that, there was a taping of, what is it called, Freeform's 31 Nights of Halloween Fan Fest or something like that. And I went to that, and Vanessa Hudgens and Jordan Fisher were hosting it, so that was really dope. I love her and him. That was dope. And then I saw him again, like after that, I saw him in downtown, and I really wanted to go say hi, but then I got nervous, so I didn't. But yeah, that was a good semester. I didn't do dance troupe that semester too, because I remember the day I was supposed to audition, I had to work at Buffalo Wild Wings, and they rarely scheduled me to work on Fridays, but they scheduled me this day, so I missed the audition, and then I didn't work like another Friday after that. I was so annoyed because I really wanted to do dance troupe. It's cool though. So then we moved on to the next semesters. This is semester 3 here. And excuse me, and now this is around, like, now we're getting into like the Thanksgiving time and all of that. So this semester was great. What classes did I have? I had anatomy and physiology. Is that the name of the class? Anatomy and physiology. AMP, that class, which I loved because I don't know, I love biology and like learning about your body and whatnot. So I love that class. I had that class. Acting for film, so the script that we wrote the semester before, we shot that script this semester, like we rewrote it and then we filmed it. Loved that class, loved that shoot, it was great. Yeah, that was amazing. That was fun. I had that. I had building the reel, which was alright. I know how to make a demo reel now. It was an okay class. I had Shakespeare, which was decent. Could have been better, but it's okay. It was a good class. And we had this weird like art class. It was like the effective artist or something like that. I don't know. It was weird, but the teacher was really cool. So I kind of liked that class because of the discussions that we would have. But yeah, that was a good semester too, actually. Kind of. Mental health wise, it was not. But like actual class wise, like I enjoyed my classes that semester. Besides like a couple. Yeah, so those were the classes. And then Thanksgiving came up, and I ended up spending Thanksgiving with my friend Alicia. And we went to one of our other friend's house. And it was just like a bunch of us, which was a lot of fun. This was my first Thanksgiving not at home, so it was a little scary, but I had a good time. I had a really good time hanging out with Alicia and all of my other friends. So yeah, so that was Thanksgiving, and then I really wanted to go home for Christmas, but plans did not work out, so I was here. And Christmas is such a major holiday for me, and I really, really, really like to be with my family for Christmas, so it hurt a lot that I was not with them. It's okay though. I did spend Christmas with my twins though, which was a lot of fun. And after that, I ended up going to one of my other friends' house. We'll call her Elizabeth. Yeah, so I ended up going to Elizabeth's house. And I spent Christmas with her and like a few other people, and that was also really fun. It was nice to be there with other people who were also missing their family. I know that sounds crazy, but it was like, okay, I don't feel as bad because like I'm not the only one that's not with their family. So I also joined dance troupe again this semester, but that would prove to be a disaster. Why? Well, I'll tell you. Okay, so with dance troupe, you can be in as many pieces as you want. You just like audition, okay, so after you audition to get in, the choreographers, whoever like choreographed a piece, will show their piece, and then they'll teach you like a little bit of it, and then you'll do it, they'll record it, and then if you want to be in their dance, then you sign up for it. You could be in as many or as little as you want. You have to be in at least one, I think. Yeah, or is it two? I think it might be one. But you so you pick whose dance you want to be in. And so this semester there were 5 dances I wanted to be in, and I picked all 5, but I ended up being in 4. So I was in 4 dances, which means I was rehearsing 4 separate times for like 2 hours at a time. Like Sundays I would start rehearsal at like 4. No, was it 3 or was it 4? 3 or 4, and then I would finish at like 11 at night. Yeah. And then I would dance on Wednesdays at like 10 to 12. Yeah, there's a lot of late nights, a lot of no sleep, but I mean, it was worth it. It was a lot of fun. So I'm in these 4 dances, right? And at the end of the year, everybody goes, home because it's the holidays. They're going home for Christmas. They're going home for New Year's. And so, speaking of New Year's, I had such a great New Year's. I hung out with like my dance troupe fam. That was fun. Anyways, so we get, whoever's here, we're still like kind of rehearsing. And then, people are starting to come back from the break. I am not blaming anybody. Disclaimer, I'm not blaming not a single soul right now. I'm not doing that. Disclaimer, I'm not blaming anyone. But after everybody came back and we had our full like rehearsal, maybe not full, but like a lot of people came back and we had like a regular rehearsal. Like, I want to say we had 3 weeks until our show, and I got so sick. Like that first week that everybody was back, I was stupid sick. Like, oh my god, this is January now. I was so sick. For like 2 weeks I was just so sick. And I ended up missing so much work. I went to the doctor and they ruled it as the flu. Definitely could have been COVID because I was sick for 2 weeks, and this sickness, when I tell you, it like, whoo, this sickness was trying to take me out. Like, it was so bad. I'll never forget, like, my fever just would not go away. When I went to the doctor, they were like, I don't even know how you made it here by yourself. Like, you're so dehydrated. Like, they had to give me so many IV fluids, and they just had to give me like a bunch of fluids and like medicine. And like I was finally like able to walk out of the hospital, and like I actually felt better. This might have been like after like 3 or 4 days. And it was just it was bad. I was so sick. That first week it was horrible, and then like come again the second week, like I still was coughing. Like it just would not go away. And of course the second week, that Friday, and I remember this very specifically, that Friday was January 17th, and we had our show that day. And I remember it very specifically because my birthday is January 18th. It's the very next day. But we had our show that Friday, and for the most part, like the sickness was gone. But this was the first time, this is why I think I might have had COVID. The first this was the first time like we danced and I could not catch my breath. Like I was literally like gasping for air, like gasping trying to breathe, and that's never happened to me ever being sick. So I feel like I might have had this virus. The doctors ruled it as the flu, but it wasn't like a massive pandemic at the time yet. Yeah, that was crazy. It was a crazy performance, and like several times I felt like I was gonna pass out, and like I didn't want to worry anybody, so I was trying like not to tell anybody, but it was crazy. And we do 2 shows. I think I mentioned that before. We do 2 shows. We do one at the theater and then we do one at the school. So that was the one at the theater. Then we go to the next week, right? And one of the choreographers, she's like, I really want to make a dance video. I want to record this. And I'm all for it until we get to that day. And I'm so stupid sick again. This is literally like Friday, I was wheezing for like gasping for air dancing. Saturday was my birthday. That's a whole nother story to talk about. And then we went Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and we got to Wednesday. This was a Wednesday, I remember very specifically. Wednesday, I was sick again. I had a fever. I was trying to do the dance video as best I could, and it just was not working. I didn't go to the doctor Thursday. Probably busy with like rehearsal and whatnot. And then Friday came and it was our last show. And yet again, back with the fever. This is like day 3 now that I've got this fever that won't go away. I'm trying to do everything. I had class all day, and then immediately after class I had to go to like not tech, but like I had to like go to the school to be ready to, you know, perform. I remember I ended up eating dumplings because I hadn't eaten all day. And it was Chinese New Year, I think, or something. And somebody brought dumplings, and I remember eating like 2 of them. And I will, to this day, forever regret eating those dumplings. It was so bad. And so then I danced, and it was not good. It wasn't good at all. I don't know if I should mention what happened, but just know it was not good. And I finally went to the doctor again after that. Everybody went out to like celebrate and whatnot, because that's usually what we do. And I was like, yeah, I have to go to the hospital. Like I can't do this. And so went back to the hospital, and they tested me, and this time I did have the flu. So both performances were terrible. I also fell during the first one, I forgot to mention. It was an interesting semester. But yeah. And then everybody kept asking if you're okay, are you okay, are you okay? And I finally, like, after 3.5 weeks of being sick, was finally good. I missed more work. It was quite the end to my second year of college. That was my second year. Year 3 is just as crazy as year 2. So definitely stay tuned for that, and stay tuned for some other story times, skits, mukbangs, cooking, like everything. Like everything is coming, so stay tuned. Be sure to hit the like button and also subscribe and leave a comment. Like, have you gone to college? What was your experience like? Like, was it as crazy as mine? I don't know. I've got some stories. I've got some pretty crazy stories. I'm trying to keep it pretty PG at the moment, but like, if you want, I can tell you some stories. Let me know. Leave a comment. But until next time, that is a wrap. I'm such a the show must go on type of person. You know that.